Exterior, the planet. We begin on an exterior shot of the planet, the moon, whole in orbit. We move in slowly at first, before speeding up, focusing all the way down into the United Nations. We zoom even further, just outside Station Square. Finally, we focus on a small house, separated from the rest of the city, next to the coast, where Amy Rose resides. We pan into the house and see Amy placing a shelf onto a wall. Holding it in place with one hand, she carefully secures the nails into the wall with her massive Pico hammer. When it's done, she lets go of the shelf and it remains stable. She wipes her brow and swings her hammer behind her back in a carefree motion. It lands with a thud. Spinning around, Amy sees that it has landed on the table behind her, completely destroying it.
Darn, I always forget how heavy this thing is. Guess my work is never finished.
Interior, Station Square train station. We cut to the bustling train station in Station Square. We watch as the train pulls up, coming to a stop. The doors slide open and Amy steps out, carefully minding the gap. We cut to her walking through the streets and entering a multi-story department store. We take a moment to pan the full height of the building as she heads inside, 4 floors. Interior, department store, day. Taking the escalator to the upper floor, Amy begins to browse furniture, soon finding a table that's to her liking. She glances around to find a staff member to ring her up, but the store is empty. She looks outside, down onto the streets below her, but they are still packed full of people and the sun is shining brightly. It's still the early afternoon.
Hello? Anybody there?
We see Amy riding the escalator down to the lower floors, but still the store is empty. She checks the entrance and the sign is flipped to open. Her eyes narrow in confusion. Finding her way to the back of the store, she sees a door marked staff only. She takes one more glance before walking through it.
Where is everybody? This is terrible customer service, you know.
Taking a flight of stairs down, Amy passes through a small corridor and finds herself in a large storage room, full to the brim with chairs, tables, lamps, sofas, and any other sort of furniture.
Seriously, where is everyone? You can't just open a store and leave.
Behind her, the door to the storage room slams shut, although nobody is there.
Okay, this isn't funny. Concerned shopper trying to buy stuff over here.
Amy hears a noise from behind her, a quiet rolling noise. Turning, she sees that a rolling desk chair has moved slightly.
Aha!
Walking slowly over to the chair, Amy once again glances around. Still, nobody. Tentatively, she raises her hand, moving it towards the chair. Just as she is about to lay her hand on it, the fabric on the seat lifts up, a sharp row of teeth in between the fabric and the plastic. With immense speed, the chair rolls towards her. Amy jerks backwards and begins to run towards the door she came through. As she passes by more pieces of furniture, they too begin to come to life, table legs thudding towards her, lights flickering ominously, and pillows unzipping themselves, growling with their new mouths. Amy tries to open the door, but she finds it's locked. She tries to look for another way out, but the furniture is already too close for her to make a move away from it. At that moment, she feels something. A hand wrapping their fingers around hers. She looks down, a gloved hand holding her own. She follows the arm up, covered with a dark jacket, and sees a face. Almost familiar, a hedgehog stands there, black quills slicked back, dark sunglasses covering their eyes.
Run.
The hedgehog darts to the right, Amy being dragged along. They duck into a side corridor and run towards a service elevator. Making their way into it, the hedgehog pushes the button for the top floor. The doors begin to slowly slide closed as the furniture approaches them. Just as the doors slide shut, a pillow launches itself towards them, jamming itself in the door. The hedgehog grabs the pillow, pulling it through the door. With a little struggle, he closes the zipper and throws it to Amy, who catches it, nearly fumbling.
Whoa, what the heck?
Don't worry, it's just a pillow.
Yeah, but what was that? Eggman?
Why would it be Eggman?
I not a robot, but killer furniture. It's the sort of weird stunt he would pull. Maybe they're furniture automatons. Ottomans.
Amy giggles to herself a little at the joke, although is still shaken.
Unfortunately, not Eggman, although that would make our lives a lot easier.
Well, whatever they are, the staff need to know about this. This is dangerous. People could get hurt.
They already did.
The elevator comes to a stop, dinging as the door opens. The hedgehog exits, Amy in pursuit.
Hey, who even are you? What's going on? This isn't funny, you know.
They're furniture. Living furniture. Being influenced by a host on the roof.
The hedgehog finds the door leading to the roof. He pauses there for a second.
Which isn't a problem, because I have this.
He pulls out the green Chaos Emerald.
I'm going up there to blow it up. And I know you, of all people, would want to come with me, but it's too dangerous. For you.
Before Amy can object, the hedgehog goes through the door, slamming it behind him. A moment later, it opens again.
I'm John Smith, by the way.
Amy Rose.
Nice to meet you, Amy Rose. Run for your life.
The hedgehog slams the door once again.
Sonic together.
Exterior, Station Square, night. Amy rushes out of the door to the department store and runs for a moment down the street before stopping to catch her breath.
Tell me what to do. I'm Amy Rose. I could have handled myself back there if I hadn't left my hammer at home.
Amy turns back towards the department store, seeing that nothing has happened. She turns away once again, but as she does, a huge explosion echoes across the streets. Amy whips her head around to see the top floor of the department store lit up in flames, glass shattering and debris flying everywhere. Still holding onto the pillow, she turns and runs through crowds forming as onlookers begin to panic. Interior, Amy's house, day. Amy sits on her sofa, broken table in front of her, with cream and vanilla on either side of her.
Are you sure you're okay, dear?
Yes, Vanilla. I'm fine. I see far worse than that on a regular basis. Yep, like that time Dr. Eggman kidnapped Mother and took her all the way to space.
Don't remind me. That was enough peril for me, and I really don't know how you all do it. Did you see what happened in there?
Amy begins to answer, but looks back at Vanilla. Her concern is touching, but Amy holds herself back.
No, I wasn't in the building when it started. All I know is the place was empty.
Is Sonic on the case? Maybe Eggman is planning something sinister.
Well, I'm gonna see the Chaotix later. They want to ask some questions about what happened.
The worry in Amy's eyes is apparent, but Vanilla either doesn't notice or chooses not to.
That's a relief, at least.
Cream gets up from her seat and wanders into Amy's open kitchen. A moment later, she comes back holding the cushion from the previous night.
Here, Miss Amy. It might help you feel more comfortable. Thanks, Cream. That's really nice of you.
Amy reluctantly takes the pillow.
Well then, we best be going. Cream and I are going to pick up some new fruit for the chow. Are you sure you'll be alright?
I'll be fine, Vanilla, really. But thank you.
We cut to Amy, seeing Cream and Vanilla off at her front door. As they walk out of view, Amy steps out of her house. Making sure they can't see, she throws the pillow into the garbage can at the side of her porch. She ducks back inside. Closing the front door, she turns around to see the hedgehog, standing in her living room.
Ah! How did you get in here?
This is your house.
Yeah?
I know where you live.
Why?
The hedgehog looks taken aback. Oops.
Oh, tracking a signal. But it was the wrong one. You aren't furniture.
Excuse me?
Definitely not. Bye.
Before he can move, Amy grabs his arm.
Absolutely not! I want answers now!
Fine. The furniture in the store came to life and attacked you.
That I know. What I don't know is why. And more importantly, who are you?
The hedgehog turns around, walking towards Amy's sofa. He picks up a cushion. It's the same cushion from the night before. Again.
You kept it.
What the? I just threw that out!
The zipper at the end of the cushion unzips and it launches towards the hedgehog, covering his head. Amy rushes over to him, grabbing the cushion. She pulls as the hedgehog stumbles around, trying to remove it himself. They tumble onto the ground before finally the cushion is free from the hedgehog's head. He grabs it, zipping it up, before standing and promptly walking out of Amy's house. She gives chase.
Where do you think you're going?
Away.
That thing tried to kill me!
Correct.
You never gave me those answers! I deserve to know the truth!
That's what you think.
At least I deserve to know. Who are you?
I told you. John Smith.
Like I believe that.
So, who do you think I am?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking. Duh.
The hedgehog breathes a quick sigh of relief.
You keep acting like I'm just gonna give up and go back to my day-to-day life. If you knew me, you'd know that's not who I am. So tell me the truth, or I will find out.
Fine.
Okay, great. So, living furniture. If they're not robots, how do they work?
There was a host on the roof, channeling energy into them that brought them to life. I destroyed it.
So, remote control?
Thought control.
And what was controlling it?
That's a long story.
For someone giving answers, you're being far too vague.
Do you remember when you were a child, growing up on this planet, and it all felt so big? So much to explore, your whole life to run around, adventure, expand your horizons. That wasn't me. I grew up seeing this planet from the outside. I've always seen how small it really is, and there are others that think that way too. To them, this place isn't full of the wonders I know it is. They don't see the beauty. They just see a floating rock. And sometimes, that's all I see too. That's who I am. And trust me, you don't want to know this world the way I do. Go home.
The hedgehog keeps walking, but Amy stops. He walks towards a large black box with red and yellow markings. Amy turns away. She begins to walk back home before hearing a strange noise behind her. She turns again, and the box and the hedgehog are gone. Interior, Chaotix Detective Agency, day. Vector the crocodile sits at the desk of the Chaotix Detective Agency, feet up, jamming to music through his headphones. There is a knock at the door, but he doesn't hear it. Then another. A third. That one breaks through the music. Vector rushes to tidy up the desk, merely moving some papers around a little, before running to the door, swinging it open.
Welcome to the Chaotix Detective Agency. We take any case that pays. How may I... Oh.
Vector notices Amy.
It's just you, Amy.
And what does that mean?
Well, I was just expecting a paying client is all. Not that I'm not happy to see you.
Vector rubs the back of his head awkwardly. Amy enters the agency.
It's nice to see you too, Vector. But today I actually am here for your detective skills.
Oh, gee, that's great news. So, what can I help you with?
Amy walks over to the desk and sits down where Vector was. She pulls up the browser on their computer.
Did you hear about that explosion in Station Square last night?
Oh, yeah, that was crazy. Lucky nobody was hurt.
Vector, all members of the staff at the store are still missing.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, I was there shopping that day, and I saw some crazy stuff. But there was this guy, a black hedgehog.
You mean...
I thought so too, at first. But I would know if it was Shadow. This guy's different.
Amy types a few keywords into the browser. First, black hedgehog. But that just brings up results about Shadow. Next, black hedgehog evil furniture. That has no results. Finally, she types black hedgehog black box. That brings up a few pictures. But they're all civilian sightings, everyone questioning who the stranger is.
Seen at multiple crime scenes, but it didn't seem like the furniture was his fault.
You're looking for a man with no name, huh?
Yeah, told me it was John Smith, but I don't know how anyone could believe someone so mysterious would have a name like that. It's obviously fake.
You know, I know somebody who has expertise in this kind of stuff.
You do?
Yeah, you want to go see him?
Can't hurt, I guess. Hey, where are SBO and Charmy?
They're on official important detective business. We may be a trio, but we all have different specialties. Sometimes we all go out on solo cases.
And this time you're staying behind for walk-ins, right?
Oh, sure, yeah. People definitely have use for my skills all the time. Just holding down the fort. That's right.
Exterior, Mystic Ruins Jungle, day. Vector leads Amy through the jungle, coming up on the entrance to a small cave. The outside nicely decorated with potted plants, finished with a green painted door.
And here we are.
Oh, this is Stick's place.
You heard of her?
Vector, we're best friends.
Right. I knew that.
Do you think you could wait out here? This hedgehog guy has a tendency of sneaking up on me. I don't want him knowing I'm here.
Sure. Vector the Protector. On a job.
Amy knocks on Stick's door before letting herself in. She closes the door behind her.
Vector the Protector. That's good. Maybe I should be a bodyguard.
Interior, Styx's cave. Amy walks through Styx's cave. Pieces of paper are crumpled up along the floor, and the walls are coated with pictures and news articles, connected together with red string. Finally, she reaches the end of the cave where Styx is perched over a table.
It's perfect! My magnum opus! Finally, I have proof! No holes in my logic, no unexplainable missing evidence, a flawless theory! The world will soon tremble in the fear of the knowledge I hold!
Amy clears her throat.
Hey there, Styx.
Styx jumps before turning around.
You can't take me alive, you government scum! Just you! Oh! Amy, hi! What brings you here?
Well, I was involved in a bit of a strange incident last night and thought you might be able to provide some more insight. Or Vector did, anyways.
So this is a chaotics referral, eh? Well, make sure Vector doesn't forget that I get 10% commission on all cases he refers to me. Even though currency is worthless and organized society only exists to drain people of their souls.
I won't. Look, have you heard about a mysterious black hedgehog?
You mean...
No, if it was him, I would know. This is a different one. Dark jacket, sunglasses, slick back quills, weird box.
Styx's eyes widen.
Oh my chaos! You could see him too? I thought I was the only one! Here, look at this!
Styx picks up the project she was working on. Many pieces of paper taped together. She turns around, presenting it to Amy. It's a collage of pictures, newspaper articles, website extracts, all focused around the mysterious hedgehog.
Whoa.
He calls himself the Project. Well, this is my project, exposing him for who he is once and for all.
And who would that be?
God.
What?
Exterior, Mystic Ruins Jungle, day. Vector paces around outside Styx's cave.
Vector the Protector. On duty. What do we have here? Oh, wait, no, that's just a plant. Man, this security guard life is boring.
Vector notices a bench behind him.
Well, a little sit down couldn't hurt.
Interior, Styx's cave. Styx continues presenting her theory to Amy.
Look at all these photos. There he is at that old Eggman warehouse in Central City. And there, he's at the site of the ancient pyramids in Shamar. Horrible incidents occurred at these places just hours after these photos were taken. But strangely, nobody was hurt. And look at this one. This article from a former gun agent says that they saw someone who looked just like this guy 50 years ago. But to not have aged in 50 years, he's gotta be some sort of omnipotent creature.
Uh-huh. And are you sure about this?
Deathly.
Exterior, Mystic Ruins Jungle, day. Vector sits on the bench, whistling to himself. He shifts, the bench seeming slightly uncomfortable.
Seems kinda weird.
At that moment, the gaps between the planks of the bench widen, and Vector slides straight through them.
Whoa!
Except he doesn't land on the floor. More wooden planks extend below him, enveloping him in a cocoon. We cut to a close shot of Amy, opening Styx's door.
Well, that was a bust. I know she can have her insights, but this was not one of those times. So what do we do now? Follow cases of more living furniture? I don't know how far we'll get with that.
Vector is sat comfortably on the bench, a blank look in his eyes. He radiates a plastic sheen.
Furniture.
Oh? Was there another sighting?
Furniture.
Vector stands up and begins to walk away, stumbling a little.
Lead the way then, I guess.
Amy shrugs her shoulders, walking after him. Interior, furniture store, evening. Vector and Amy walk through a small furniture store, inspecting the items on display.
They all seem normal to me. No teeth, no desire to kill.
So you first saw the project at the department store, right?
Yeah?
Why was he there? What did he do?
I guess he was there to stop the furniture. He said something about... hey, wait a minute.
A store clerk speaks to Vector from behind, just out of view.
Would you like to try this bed?
No bed.
The clerk walks away.
Why was the project there?
Vector, how did you know his name? I didn't tell you that.
The clerk appears behind Amy, still slightly out of view.
Try the bed, ma'am.
No, we're alright, thanks.
We told you, no! Ah.
Vector looks past Amy, finally making eye contact with the clerk. It's the hedgehog.
No, really. I mean it.
The hedgehog jumps towards Vector, tackling him. They fall forward, landing on top of a large bed. The hedgehog wraps the bedsheet around Vector, straitjacket style. He jumps up and turns to Amy.
Come on.
They begin to leave as Vector rips the bedsheet off of himself. He stands and launches his fist towards the hedgehog, it extending unnaturally like a soft plastic.
Vector! What are you doing? How are you...
That's not Vector.
The hedgehog runs up to Vector and kicks him backwards. Vector stumbles but charges forward, bearing razor-sharp teeth. The hedgehog stands his ground and at the last moment primes an uppercut. Just before Vector collides with him, the hedgehog punches, hitting Vector square in the chin. Vector's head flies off of his body, landing on the ground.
What are you doing?
Like I said, not Vector. Now let's go.
The hedgehog picks up the head. He runs past Amy, out of the back door of the shop. Amy glances to Vector's body, unmoving, collapsed onto the ground. She takes a step towards it, but it jerks to life, jumping to its feet. She gasps, turning and running in the direction of the hedgehog. Exterior, Station Square, night. The hedgehog exits the shop, Amy soon following. The eyes on Vector's head blink open.
He's still coming for you, you know.
The hedgehog and Amy turn around. The body of Vector charges through the door, arms swinging.
Let's go! This way!
Amy pulls out her hammer and rushes towards a locked gate.
Don't bother.
The hedgehog walks the other way. Just a few feet away from him is the large black box he was with earlier in the day. Red and yellow lines trail down it.
What is that thing?
Our ticket out of here.
The hedgehog holds Vector's head under his arm and presses his palm up to the box. Two large appendages extend out of the left and right side of it. The hedgehog uses an appendage to climb to the top of the box, perching himself on it.
A box?
Trust me.
Amy turns from the gate and sees the body of Vector stumbling towards her. She glances towards the box and back to the gate. Making up her mind, she runs towards the box, climbing to the top and sitting behind the hedgehog.
You ready?
As I'll ever be.
The hedgehog places his palm on the top of the box. On the backside, a small device resembling a jet booster slides into position and activates. They begin to float into the air, quickly gaining speed. Over the next few moments, more elements of the box shift, and the hedgehog and Amy are forced to reposition, hanging from the back of the device rather than sitting on top. Another few moments, and it's clear that they are hanging from the back of E123 Omega.
Omega? What's going on?
Something clicks in Amy's brain.
Okay, the project. Very clever. You can take all that off now.
The hedgehog grunts. He removes his sunglasses, takes off his jacket, and ruffles his quills back into position. It is Shadow the Hedgehog.
I guess you would find out eventually. You are one of the more competent people on this planet.
Amy's cheeks go red. She doesn't mention that almost everyone she told about him immediately figured it out. Shadow places Vector's head into a slot on Omega's back. It doesn't fit exactly, but it slots in well enough.
But why? What was all that about?
It's an alias I use sometimes, when a mission is too close to home. I've been seen with you and Sonic too often. People know me now. When I need to go undercover, I have to change my appearance.
But why lie to me?
I wasn't expecting you to be there. It took me by surprise, but I couldn't risk exposing myself just in case anybody else was watching. It was safer to keep up the disguise.
Then, why not explain anything when you came to my house?
I wanted to. I could have said less, but I was still in that persona. If I let on that I knew you, or even that I knew how strong you were, or how helpful you'd be.
Right. Spy work. Weird, but I get it. That was a new look for Omega.
This mission was more complicated. We've never had to deal with this kind of thing before. I needed the backup, but Omega's also too well known. So we developed that form.
It is incredibly uncomfortable. Why disguise myself when I could just obliterate any threat?
And what happened to Vector? Is he okay?
I don't know.
You don't know? You punched his head off! You're melting him!
I am not. Oh no.
Shadow looks towards Vector's head. It is bubbling, plastic melting into Omega's circuitry.
Attention, I need a bath.
This isn't good. Do you still have the signal?
Signal strength poor.
Signal? What signal?
We're using the head to track the signal controlling it. This thing's been all over Station Square, so the only thing powerful enough to control it is the main source of consciousness.
Signal lost. Descending.
Omega begins to descend to the ground. Exterior, Station Square, night. Omega lands outside the Station Square train station. Shadow and Amy disembarking from his back.
Should you put your disguise back on?
It's too late now. Anyone that wanted to see me will have. Let's just look for the source.
And what exactly are we looking for?
Something huge, big enough to transmit a signal for miles. But the conduit needs to be specific, big and round, like a giant circle. Something that strange looking would be obvious.
Shadow looks around him, scanning the nearby shops and hotels, even the coast. He stops, his back to Twinkle Park.
It must be invisible.
Amy stares straight ahead, behind Shadow. She looks at the Twinkle Park coaster, a large metal loop. Shadow sees her looking and glances behind him.
What?
Amy just keeps looking. Shadow glances again.
What is it? What are you looking at?
Amy nods in the direction of the coaster. Shadow takes one more look. He sees it.
Oh.
The side of Shadow's mouth curves upward, as much of a grin as he can muster.
Fantastic.
Shadow and Amy run towards Twinkle Park, Omega in slow pursuit. Exterior, Twinkle Park, night. Shadow and Amy run past the security guard at the entrance to the park and along the cobbled paths, passing by many attractions. They stop at the base of the central castle of the park.
I never did tell you exactly what was controlling the furniture. Have you ever heard the legend of Dark Gaia?
Oh, yeah! Eggman awakened Dark Gaia a while ago. Tore the whole planet apart. But Sonic put it back together with the help of Chip, who turned out to be like Gaia.
Yeah. Well, underneath the park is a chasm that leads to the core of the planet, and Dark Gaia's influence is beginning to seep through.
Is that why Vector got stretchy arms? That happened to Sonic.
Exactly. But luckily, this chasm is only allowing a fraction of Dark Gaia's influence to pour into the world. So, the strength of one Chaos Emerald should be able to stop it. We just need to find an entrance.
What about over there?
Amy motions towards the Hall of Mirrors.
Perfect.
They run towards the Hall of Mirrors, darting around corners, trying to find their way out. Shadow reaches a mirror and stops.
Here we go. Amy, would you do the honors?
Certainly.
Amy takes out her hammer, and with a decisive swing, the mirror smashes, revealing an elevator. The pair step in.
Was this place here the whole time?
I don't know. This is actually my first time here.
Really? Sonic and I used to visit here all the time. Well, once. Well, I visited. He chased after me, while a killer robot did the same.
The elevator dings, reaching its destination. The pair exit and find themselves in a large cavern, the center of which housing a massive pit, purple tendrils of smoke pouring out of it.
What is that thing?
The source of the consciousness.
Amy stares into the pit. She nearly loses herself, but soon hears a familiar voice.
Amy! Over here!
Amy tears herself out of her trance and sees Vector, sat tied up leaning against a wall. She rushes over to him.
Vector! What happened to you?
They needed him alive to maintain the artificial copy. It looks like the influence has spread from just furniture.
Shadow steps forward, facing the pit.
Dark Gaia, you're part of a cycle. I know that. Eventually you will destroy the planet, and Light Gaia will rebuild. But now it's not that time. Please, rest. Wait until your time has come. Leave these people alone.
The tendrils of smoke seem to thin out.
Shadow, I think it's listening to you.
The elevator dings once again. It opens, revealing Omega.
I am here, ready to destroy all evil creatures in my path.
The tendrils of smoke thicken again. A piercing screech echoes from the pit.
Omega, of course.
What?
He's Eggman tech, powered by the same things that powered the laser that awoke Dark Gaia the last time.
So, Omega being here...
Enraged it again.
Ah, we nearly had it.
Exterior, Station Square, night. Styx walks through Station Square.
Tonight is the night! I'll present my theory and everyone will believe me! I shall be the harbinger of truth!
She stops at a burger restaurant. A mannequin of an older gentleman stands outside, advertising the restaurant. Styx approaches the mannequin.
You there, sir! Would you like to hear the truth about our world?
The mannequin tilts its head towards Styx. Slowly, its fingers curl into a fist. Then its arm extends, stretching, punching her in the chest. She flies backwards.
What?
More mannequins come to life as store windows smash, mannequins and furniture alike chasing after civilians, cream and vanilla among them.
Mother, what's happening?
I don't know, dear. I'm sure Sonic will be along soon to put a stop to it.
Interior, Gaia Chasm. Two Burger Man mannequins approach Shadow from behind, grabbing his arms. They begin to drag him towards the pit.
Unhand me, you.
Shadow struggles, but to no avail. One of the Burger Men reaches behind Shadow and pulls out the green Chaos Emerald. Dark Gaia roars again.
I wasn't going to use it. You'd seen reason.
Shadow! I got this.
Amy stands, running towards Shadow and the Burger Men.
Amy, be careful.
When Dark Gaia rose the first time, I may not have done much. Maybe I was scared. Maybe I didn't know how to help. But now I do.
Amy pulls out her hammer, priming it for a swing.
Have no fear! Amy Rose is here!
She swings, slamming one of the Burger Men into a wall. She primes her hammer again, swinging downwards and squishing the other into the floor. The green Chaos Emerald flies into the air, and now free, Shadow jumps up to catch it. He hangs in the air above the pit.
Chaos Control!
Dark Gaia screams a final time, a pain scream, before the tendrils of smoke recede into the pit, leaving the room clear. Shadow blinks out of existence, blinking in on the ground.
Is it gone?
Shadow solemnly stares into the pit.
Yes.
Exterior, Station Square, night. The mannequins terrorizing the civilians begin to fall to the floor, still once again. The furniture also calms down, returning to its non-lifelike state.
Cream, are you alright?
Yes, Mother. I'm okay. What happened?
Styx, now on her feet again, runs towards anybody who will listen.
It's the apocalypse! I'm telling you, fast fashion has found its revenge! The only thing that will be fast is our doom if we don't accept it as our new overlord!
Coming from Twinkle Park, Shadow, Amy, Omega, and Vector watch the confused relief of the people as they realize they're safe.
Jeez, this is quite a story. Charmy and Espio aren't gonna believe this.
Another day goes by in which I do not get to eradicate, annihilate, or otherwise destroy my enemies.
The arm of the Burger Man mannequin moves slightly. Omega blasts it immediately.
I now feel slightly better.
Amy turns to Shadow.
So, was I helpful enough for you, John Smith?
Shadow smirks.
You don't even need to ask.
What was with John Smith, anyway? I thought you were the project.
Normally, I am. But a black hedgehog with a Chaos Emerald called the Project, if anyone would figure that out immediately, it would be you. I panicked.
You need to get better at choosing code names. I'm surprised Rouge hasn't helped you with that.
She doesn't know.
What? But you guys are like a team.
Gun doesn't tend to like Rouge going on missions around here. She knows where everything valuable is. Too much unrestricted access.
I suppose that makes sense.
But if you ever want to...
Shadow the Hedgehog! Are you asking me if I want to go on missions with you?
No. I was going to ask if you wanted to come up with my code name.
Oh, well, you know, I've got to make sure Cream and Vanilla are okay, and, maybe you can ask Vector. He's good at that.
Yeah! I just came up with another new one for myself. Vector the Spectre. That'll be great if I become a ghost.
See?